What's up, gamers? Get your tinfoil hats ready. It's the cover-up of the century. Jumpman, yes, from the original Donkey Kong arcade game, and Mario from the Super Smash Bros. Are not the same person. But they are related. Or they were, because Cranky and Donkey Kong Jr. killed him. Let's get started. First, let's look at the known lore. Mario is a plumber who lives in the Mushroom Kingdom and loves Princess Peach. Jumpman is a carpenter who lives in New York and loves his girl Pauline. Nintendo has led us to believe that these are the same person. Donkey Kong from the original arcade game is actually Cranky Kong. Donkey Kong Jr. is Cranky's son. So, our current Donkey Kong is Cranky's grandson, and DK Jr.'s son. From this, we can speculate that the passage of time has affected the gorillas, but we are supposed to believe, according to Nintendo, that it hasn't affected the humans. That's pretty suspicious. To accept that this lore is true, you need to accept the following things. 1. That Mario took on a completely separate trade after the Donkey Kong Jr. game, going from carpentry to plumbing. 2. That Mario completely ditched his old girlfriend Pauline and went for the princess, but is still friends with Pauline and no one cares about that. And 3. The current Mario we know and love at best put an animal in a cage and at worst was an animal abuser and two-timer who left his girl for a younger, richer woman. Or, hear me out, Jumpman is Mario and Luigi's father and Pauline is their mother. Real talk. First, some physical evidence. At the end of Yoshi's Island, we can see that the stork is freed by Yoshi and makes his long journey to deliver the twins to Mario and Luigi's parents. Although the parents are barely shown, we can see their legs and some torso. The woman is in a dress, and the man is possibly in red pants that look very similar to those from the DK arcade poster. Speaking of the arcade poster, does that look like Mario to you? First, the hair is jet black. Not brown, completely black. Mario has brown hair that is significantly lighter than Jumpman's. The entire facial structure and body are completely off as compared to our current Mario also. The face, particularly, looks less like Mario and more like, believe it or not, a mashup of Mario and Luigi mixed with a lifelong diet of salted meats and pastas. Also, the nose and ears. So, very interesting thing about humans. After puberty, human bones stop growing. However, cartilage, like that in the nose and the ears, continue to grow our entire lives. So, a 30-year-old will be the same height when they reach 90 years old, but their nose and ears will be significantly larger. Take a look at this. The sprite of Mario versus the sprite of Jumpman. Both Jumpman's nose and ears are larger than Mario's. Seriously, count the pixels. Jumpman versus Mario's ear pixels are 4:2, and the nose is 6:4. Need even more evidence? What happens when Mario eats a mushroom and quote-unquote grows up? His nose jumps from 4 pixels to 11, and his ears go from 2 to 4. That's pretty damning evidence. If this were the same Mario, he would not have his nose and ears shrink in future games. Basically, the Jumpman that we see and play as in the DK arcade game is chronologically older than the Mario that we play in the games. So where is this Jumpman? Well, here's the sad truth of the missing father figure. 2. At the end of Donkey Kong Jr., Jumpman dies. Game villains have one life. That's it. They don't go around collecting coins or 1-ups or get out of death free cards. When they are dead, they are dead. Bird circling overhead means knocked out. Halo means having a chat with your maker. This one, not this one. In the original Donkey Kong, if you get hit, you do a couple of dramatic spins, fall to the ground, Halo appears over your head, and you are dead. If you have an extra life, you come back. If you don't, game over. Over. Press the reset button and recon the whole thing because you died in that timeline. If you complete the game, when DK, the villain, falls to the ground, he continues to flail around all dizzy. No Halo, not dead. That's a big difference. As a result, he comes back for future games. Now, in Donkey Kong Jr., Jumpman, the villain, falls to the ground and lies on his back with a halo floating over his head. He's dead. As the villain of the game, he has no extra lives. The timeline continues, but he won't be in it for the next games because he is dead. But that's impossible, right? Jumpman is Mario and he is alive and well. Negative, my sweet baby bird. Mario is a small child when his father dies, and the chronological timeline proves it. 3. Mario and Donkey Kong are basically the same age. Let's look at facts. And I hope you all appreciate this because a lot of stupid math went into it, which, to be fair, I do love doing. First, we know that the monkeys in the Mario universe do age. Evidence of this is Cranky Kong. He's very, very young in the DK arcade game, very, very old in Donkey Kong Country. In the real world, and I assume the Mario universe, gorillas live to be about 35 to 40 years old. It takes 10 to 12 years for them to reach adulthood. At the age of 15, they are at sexual maturity and begin to mate. At 20 to 23, they are at their peak size and strength. At 35, they begin to show signs of age deterioration. And at age 40, they are at the end of the line and knocking on death's door. Mario is 24 to 25 years old as stated during a 2005 interview with Miyamoto. These are all facts. Keep that in mind. With this knowledge, let's look at the games. Donkey Kong arcade game. DK, who is actually Cranky Kong, is at peak physical strength here, so let's say he's about 23 years old. Donkey Kong Jr. happens immediately after the events of the first game, so let's say same age, 23. DK Jr. is significantly smaller than adult Cranky here. Jr. is even smaller as compared to future games, for example Mario Kart. He's also not a baby though. He is still plenty strong as evidenced by the fact that he catches his dad, Cranky, at the end with ease. So he is still smaller, but significantly strong. Let's put him at 12 years old, just on the verge of adulthood, but not at his peak strength of adulthood. As we said before, Cranky is 23 in the events of these two games. Fast forward to Donkey Kong Country, and Cranky is old. Not just showing signs of aging old, I mean old. Cane and rocking chair with a long beard old. He is 40, no questions asked. Based off that, we can conclude that between the events of Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong Country, 17 years have passed. 40 minus 23 equals 17. DK Jr. was 12 years old during the DK Jr. game. Let's assume he had the current Donkey Kong, his son, 3 years later, at 15 years old. Flash forward to the current timeline. Cranky is 40, Donkey Kong Jr. is 29, which makes Donkey Kong 14. He's born 3 years after the events of DK Jr., aged 14 years. There we go. Do we have more evidence to prove this? Donkey Kong is a full adult male, but still young, as evidenced by the boombox and the bachelor pad. But he's not at sexual maturity yet, but he's very close, which makes sense as he has no child, but he's definitely starting to feel the pull of nature, evidenced by the poster of Candy Kong on the wall, and eventually him getting her as his girlfriend. Definitely 14. His size is also an indicator. He is large, but not yet max size. A fully grown gorilla is 300 pounds on average, going as high as 500. Diddy is based mostly off a chimp, which can weigh 70 to 130 pounds. Although he is larger than Diddy, he is definitely not 3 to 4 times his size. Yet. So, if Mario's father Jumpman dies 17 years before Donkey Kong Country, how can Mario be 24? Easy. Mario was about 6 at the time his father met his untimely, if not deserved, fate. Pauline is clearly not pregnant at the time of Jumpman's demise, at least not that we can see. And, as most mothers will tell you, getting rid of baby weight after birth is extremely difficult, especially with 2 boys, Mario and Luigi. There's not a lot of time to be going to the gym when they are needy toddlers. It is much more likely that Pauline started hitting the CrossFit gym right around when Mario and Luigi were about 4 or 5 and started going to school. And it took probably a year or more to get back into the shape we all know and love. Seriously people, progress is slow. Don't fall for crash diets. AKA, Mario was about 6 or 7 at the time. Based off all of this evidence, we can conclude that Mario and DK are about the same relative age. Or, in any event, Mario is not the same person who was Jumpman fighting Cranky in the arcade game. And what do I mean by relative age? In a 2005 interview, as I said before, Miyamoto stated that Mario's physical age was about 24 to 25 years old. Average lifespan for an American-Italian male is 77, seriously Google it, so 24 divided by 77 is about 31% of his life. Average lifespan for a gorilla is 40, so DK is 14 divided by 30 or 35% of his life. Same relative age. And there it is. all the evidence proving that Jumpman is the father of Mario and Luigi, Pauline is the mother, and Jumpman met the fate that every animal abuser should at the hands of Cranky and DK Jr. Miyamoto hates this theory, but you know what, Miyamoto? Don't give me fact bullets if you don't want me firing the truth gun. Thanks for watching. Much love.